Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's Monday night, and you're joining us for the second session of our Masks of Nyarlathotep Call of Cthulhu game. So if you haven't watched the first one, then, I don't want to tell you to leave, but you should probably leave and catch up on YouTube, maybe. Or, if you've played it before, then carry on. Don't leave. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. Other things that we do on the channel on a Wednesday night, we do Simba Room, which is the longest running thing on the channel. Alternating Thursday nights, we have our pre-recorded Delta Green game, which Steve, who is playing this evening, ran for us. And then on the other Thursday, we have the Yellow King, which Matt is running. And we also do weekend one-shots about once a month. But links are below the stream for our Twitch and YouTube, our social media, and our Discord. Our Discord and our social media are the best places to stay up to date with what we are doing and when. And there is also our Patreon, where if you enjoy what we do, you can support us on there in exchange for various rewards, none of which I think include Milky Bar, but lots of other nice things. So last week was the first session of Masks, which I've been wanting to run for many years, and this seems like the perfect opportunity to do it. So the party were brought together by a newspaper advert offering riches, either in the form of artifacts to be sold or knowledge at a soon-to-be discovered pyramid in Peru. So they all made their ways over and met with their patron, Augustus Larkin, as well as his assistant, Luis de Mendoza, and a man who gave a couple of different names, but who most likely his real name is Jackson Elias, who cast some aspersions around things that may or may not be going on. And the previous session ended with that meal and drinks ending and the party turning in for the evening. So let's bring on Steve first, who plays Edwin Price. Hey, Steve.
Hi, Johnny.
Give us a little recap on... I had spoiled that you were coming on first, of course, by professionally typing in the comments and not the private chat.
Could have been worse. It could have been worse.
Could have been worse. But yes, please give us a little recap on Edwin and his reasons for being here and his general character, please.
Sure. So Edwin is a lawyer. I think, yes, the character creation went out on Patreon, didn't it? So that's one of the things that I rolled incredibly averagely for Edwin. So it just seemed, okay, well, Edwin can be a lawyer. That's fine. So he's joined this expedition prompted by a friend of his that he should probably see a bit more of the world, get out a bit, So he's in Peru. He's not really familiar with this sort of stuff. But he's here. He's met some nice people. Luis de Mendoza seems a wee bit sour, not a really nice person. So there's a question mark there. And the casting aspersions you referred to were that he might be involved with death cults. So, Edwin is now a wee bit concerned about the trajectory of our adventures, but surrounded by fine people, I'm sure nothing else it'll be fine. It's all probably a terrible misunderstanding. We can clear it right up.
I'm sure that's right. Yes. Thanks, Steve. Let's bring on Inga, who is playing Corporal Martin Shane. Hey, Inga. Similar question to you about Martin's character and reasons for being here.
Yeah, I mean, Martin is effectively a former field medic and is here in his sort of doctoring capacities, I suppose. Was like less sort of attracted by the advert and more like kind of hooked up with Larkin through sort of former army kind of contacts as basically a private job. Now that I'm no longer with the retired from the army. Yeah, I mean, I think like, kind of semi-interested in some of this chat about like the death cults and some of the things kind of going on, but like not, I think probably not overly like concerned or impassioned by either of those things, like mostly here kind of for the job, like rather than like, for you're pursuing some sort of, occult interests or otherwise. So yeah, we'll see how that kind of unfolds, but it's certainly interesting information, if nothing else, and filing that stuff away for sure. Also kind of have noticed some potentially interesting medical things with our sort of benefactor Larkin and his Luis de Mendoza, and some suspected opiate usage. So yeah, this is definitely something funny going on, but it's maybe a bit more kind of banal than death cults. Who knows?
Cool, thank you. I'll bring on Justin, who is playing Mr. Wilfred Farwell. Hey, Justin.
Hello.
Little recap on Wilfred.
Wilfred, generally, he's a mechanic, and he's here with his wife, who is very interested in the mysticism, mysterious things, and we've got a bit of money. We've come into a bit of money through our work. Definitely providing legit services of the supernatural kind. And why not go to Peru and see a death cult?
Quite right. Now, in what maybe a Telling Tales first? I don't know. We have Sam and John.
I'm not sure. I think it might be a Telling Tales first. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, you guys have never even been in the same room before.
No, this is literally the first time. I didn't actually believe John was like a physical human.
We're not actually in the room right now. There's you see this line? It's like a split screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My hand could just pass straight through John's face.
Sam actually recorded his half of this several hours ago.
Cool.
Anyway.
Sam, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Tell us about Winifred Farwell.
Yeah, so as described, Mrs. Winifred Farwell, obviously the wife of Mr. Farwell, she is certainly interested in the mysterious, the occult, the strange in the world, and has made a fairly successful business of that, selling it to the very wealthy, seances, fortune tellings and readings and all that sort of thing, which she may or may not think is legitimate. We'll get to that at some point, I'm sure. And sort of came along with the Mr. Farwell was a mechanic. She has some skills she could bring along as well. So, encouraged and nudged her way onto the expedition alongside him.
And John?
Merritt Barton is a sort of a linguistics researcher from the Midlands of England who speaks fluent Spanish and speaks a little bit of Christian, and decided why not go to Peru, and now he's here, and that's pretty much as far as his motivation went, really.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. And finally, let's bring on Jack, who plays Theodore Ted Hobbs.
I like the quotation marks then. That's good.
Tell us about old
Ted.
Teddy Hobbs.
He is a photojournalist, from Nottingham, who has sort of, still, well, bored of doing sort of more local news, has managed to wrangle his way onto the expedition in the hopes that, you know, he can publish a series of articles in it and sell it to a national paper. And yeah, is excited to be traipsing into the jungle with his new friends, maybe. How long they last.
Now I feel like Ted's the
So
big bad.
confident.
Is it really necessary? We're on
Most
session 2,
optimistic
Jack.
member of the group.
Session
No,
2.
no, I love the optimism. That we'll probably be friends and we'll probably survive, right?
Yeah, I
Right?
think Ted's confident that he'll survive because I think maybe he feels invincible as long as he's taking photos.
Top tip: if you want your character to survive, don't have a name that rhymes with dead.
It doesn't. His name's Theodore.
Dead Ted.
Theodore does rhyme with is no more, so
Oh no, is no more dead. That sounds like he's come back.
anyway,
neighbour.
anyway, it is now the morning of Saturday, the 19th of March, 1921. Assuming that nobody wanted to do anything overnight. I think I checked that at the end of the last session, but I think you had said that you were just heading to
sleeping.
bed.
There was something I wanted to talk to my husband about, but I just remembered he was just done. So I will talk to him about it in the morning.
Okay, let's have that then. Feel free.
Okay. I feel like you probably slept in, and I'm getting impatient with what I want to talk to you about. So eventually, I'll just nudge you awake.
God, I was having a terrible dream.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, darling. Anyway, we have some work to do. I feel after those conversations with Mr. Elias, wasn't it, last night? Lots of interesting things to look at before we go. I feel.
Like what?
Well, now that I'm out of character, I remember I failed the roll on Jackson Elias's background. But Justin, did you
I made a roll.
succeed it?
Well, but it was glossed over, so I'm happy to have not succeeded it.
I remember that you did succeed it, so I was going to press for that information now if Johnny would allow.
Well,
that.
if Johnny would allow it.
Yeah. Because we kind of moved on.
This was a failed occult roll, but I said the backstory for my character is that I've done a lot of reading around,
and I failed the roll,
Mrs. Farwell's stuff. So,
But you did succeed at it.
I rolled a 3 under 5. So,
oh, okay, yeah, sure,
or something like that.
You've maybe seen a book that Winifred has, but hasn't read yet, perhaps in a pile of unread books. So you recognize the name from the spine. So you don't know anything about what's in the book, but you definitely you recognize that name as one that is...
Do I remember the name of the book? Let's say, I don't need the exact name, but I'm happy with a yes or a no answer to that, Johnny. You don't need to get the name.
I think you can remember the name of the book.
Oh, I think he was in that book, and I give the name of the book.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
I'm been
frustrated with
to,
myself for not remembering the name.
I'm meaning to read it when I get back.
Well, I certainly want to now. Johnny, I brought a few books with me. Is there any chance? It could be a really unlikely luck roll.
You can, make a luck roll.
Okay, cool. What is my luck? 50.
Also, so Sam, I'm wondering how hard to make this luck roll as to whether
it could be an extreme. That does seem fair, given I probably have lots of books, and I can't imagine I would have been able to bring loads.
Yeah. Let's make it a hard luck roll, so 25 or less.
Come on, dice. That is a 2.
Oh. Yeah.
I just pick the book up if I roll 2, probably, don't I?
I was just about to open it. It's here.
As it happens, my morning reading.
Did you read the blurb while I was picking it up 10 seconds ago?
you have his best known book, which is called Sons of Death.
Okay.
Is that with a U or an O?
Oh, it's about an Indian cult.
Okay. By Indian, we're talking about like Asian Indian, correct? Just
Yes. Yep.
Sons of Death. Okay, I will like glance at it this morning, but I know we have a lot to do, so I won't read through much more. I'm happy if there's more information you give me, you can just tell me. Otherwise, I'll assume I don't find much.
Sure.
So the other thing is that Elias/Hughes had basically told you that he was planning on meeting the professor at 2 p.m. tomorrow. So you won't be meeting until about midday. So you do have some time to do other things, even if you are all planning on going to the university.
Okay. Well, while I'm still in the scene with my husband, I would like to be like, darling, I would really like to spend a bit of time with this book, if that would be acceptable. Could you do me a little favor and go see if you can find some local papers? I'm curious if there have been any stories about these murders and death cults and things, or if it's all just fiction.
I'll spring out of bed and start, I don't know, putting on my slacks and suspenders and I don't know, all that kind of stuff. Yes, I'll make sure they send up some coffee as well.
Oh, thank you, Dad. I will just stay in bed and read until we need to go then.
I'll go and do that. And while I'm there, I'll, I don't know, buy some cigars, something like, peruse the market, other morning activities.
Cool. Peruse Peru.
I was
John,
hoping
Inga, Steve. Sorry, go on, Inga.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was hoping to just go and visit knock on the professor's door, on Larkin's door, sorry, and see how he was getting on this morning and sort of do a bit of a welfare check, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, so are you going to do that alone? Are you heading there? Not waiting for anyone else to get up?
Yeah, I was just gonna get myself dressed and pressed and grab a bite and then head on up. Probably reasonably early, actually, but yeah.
Okay, so you head over to the Hotel España, and you walk in. It's a 2-floor building, and is on the corner of a busy street of shops in the Lima district. There's no reception desk, but there is there's a small white-haired woman in a shawl, kind of sitting in a chair in the entry like hallway against the wall. It's decorated in very bright sort of primary colors, and the walls are covered in paintings and photographs. And there are a selection of statues and plants on little tables. So yeah, very, very bright and colourful in here. This sort of white-haired older woman is sitting in a chair in the hallway.
Does she look like she is probably staff of some description rather than just some other guest or something?
She's sitting reading a newspaper, and you imagine that if you were a guest, you might sit in your room or you might go out somewhere. So it would probably be fair to assume that she might be.
Okay. Well, she's the only one around anyway, I suppose. No harm in asking. Excuse me. Sorry, do you speak English?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. I don't suppose you're a member of the staff here.
I own the place.
Oh, splendid. Thank you. I was looking for my companion, Mr. Augustus Larkin, who is staying here. He retired to bed last night, not terribly well. I'm his doctor and was looking to check in on him this morning.
Yes. Yes. Room number 7. He is upstairs.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. And
I hope he is well.
I'm sure he will be. And then I'll head on up to wherever it looks like the rooms are, and find my way to room number 7, assuming that they're kind of signposted in some sort of way.
Yeah. This isn't a huge building. You would guess that there are between 10 and 15 rooms here, maybe. So you can very easily find room number 7.
Cool. And I will go rap on the door.
Yeah, there isn't a response. Do you want to make a listen roll?
I would love to make a listen roll. That's a 94. I'm pretty sure that is a failure.
Okay, you don't hear anything. It's possible he's up and out already. So.
Yeah. I will maybe just, I'll probably have like a notebook or something and just tear off a sheet of paper and just leave a little note to say that, I'd stopped by at this time to check in on him. I hope he's doing well. If he needs my services from a medical capacity, please get in touch. He knows where to find me. And we'll just maybe slip it under the door for him. I think on my way back out, I'll maybe just stop by that woman again and say, I'm not sure that he's in this morning, or perhaps has not woken up just yet. I left a note under the door for him, but if you do see him, just in case he hasn't seen my note, please do let him know that I've left my contact details in case he needs to get in touch with me.
No problem. I saw his friend come back in, so perhaps they went out together and he has stayed. Breakfast, perhaps.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. That's very helpful. Yes, I don't suppose actually you know where the nearest sort of pharmacy or sort of medical supply store might be around this area.
Yes, a few doors down is a pharmacy.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Yes, have a lovely day. And then just on my way back, I don't know if this is the pharmacy that would quite have stuff like this, or whether I would even really strictly be able to get something like this. But I think I have realized that something I do not have in my medical supply kit is any form of like stronger painkillers, like opiate level. And so I would like to see if I can get not like loads, but something to supplement my medical kit in case in the jungle we run into some issues there.
I'm going to say that in the 1920s you'd be able to pick up,
opiates
like
in South
very much
America.
issue at all.
Just handing over,
Cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think there's much of an issue getting
Cool.
something like that.
Cool. Yeah, I'll do that just on my way back to the hotel then, where we were staying, and just find my way back there.
Cool. Were Edwin or Ted or Merritt doing anything of note this morning?
I would like to, before we talk to the professor, basically go out and find some bookshops, because finding Quechuan books in Leicester is very, very hard. So I think I might be looking for like a general vocab book, if I can, or like a variety of them. And then more generally just books, novels, stuff. And then a lot of it go to a post office and ship most of it back to my office. But the vocab books I'm keeping with me.
Okay. Make me. Can you make me a library use roll and make me a luck roll, please, and tell me the results of both?
I'll find the character sheet.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't turn my headphones off.
Oh, I can tell you what your stats are if
That's
that
good.
helps.
It's here. It's here.
Library use is 70 and luck is 60.
That's pretty good.
It's my
odds.
thing. So my library use, I rolled a 3.
Perfect.
Good library use.
And my luck, I rolled a 9.
Right. What books do you want to find written in question? No.
List them.
Do they have a copy of the Necronomicon?
You don't want that. So yeah, you basically you find some nice phrase books, and you find, let's say you find a couple of books that you've been looking for in English, a couple of books you've been looking for in Spanish. You know, you find a nice array of different things that you've been looking for some time. So yeah, a good haul between like a couple of sort of almost jumble sale looking little bookshops and a couple of market stalls. You get a pretty good haul of things.
Good. Could I pick up anything about local folklore?
With those rolls, yeah, I think you can.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'll keep that one with me.
Cool.
Remember the tick rolls you succeeded at, folks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jonny, I had a question as well about languages, which is, my character doesn't have any other languages as skills, but how mute do you want us to be? Conceivably, after spending several weeks in a Spanish-speaking country, which I think this country is, we would pick up like some
Mostly.
basics that might not represent even any points in the skill, but like, what do we have any ideas about how that works? Or
I think similarly to if you literally went to a country where you didn't speak, you'd be able,
yeah,
you'd be able to
couple of
communicate in
words.
some way with people. It may be
Pointing.
very difficult to get across anything
Yeah.
remotely complex.
Cool.
But like you could probably get yourself a breakfast and
Yeah.
a beer, so kind of that
Cool.
level. If in doubt as it
that's
goes
cool.
on, feel free to ask. And I think when you're in the group, obviously John's character has some
speaks.
proficiency, and maybe Inga. Does Martin have anything in language? No. Okay. And you're aware that Elias also, if you're with him, he communicated pretty well with the serving staff last night.
I mean, generally speaking, rolls are only for pressured situations. So
Yeah.
That would
So
kind of explain being able to
buying-
stumble through a conversation, but not.
Yeah. How desperately do you need that beer, basically?
Exactly.
Well, I'm assuming that I can buy the morning paper, peruse the markets, and ask someone for directions back to the hotel without
Yes.
dying, basically, which
Yeah.
might otherwise happen.
You weren't first in the list. It's fine.
Well, you won't die as a result of your lack of language.
No.
Well, usually it's like a stab wound or some.
Cool. Steve, Edwin.
I think I would. I'd probably get some newspapers as well, but I'd be trying to see if there's anything about Larkin and this expedition in them. I'm kind of trying to find out, and I probably won't be successful just with today's newspaper, but like, is there what sort of history is there? Also, like, who's funding this? Is it all just Larkin self-funding, or it just seems a bit odd that now that Jesse Hughes, Jackson Elias has raised some questions. I think Edwin is a bit more like, what's this all for? What's going on?
Jonny, you should
Yeah.
totally do a scene with Wilfred and Edwin like running into each other from the newsstand to the newsstand at different directions. Sorry, backseat GMing, but I just thought that would be so cute.
Yes, you can get a few local papers. Nothing before today, obviously. You're also aware that you are going to the university, which may, as well as the general reasons that you're going there may be access to some archive of local papers and stuff like that. But yeah, for the time being, with what's available to you in this town centre, you'd probably struggle for anything of that ilk. And Jack, did you say, does Ted want to do anything specific?
No, I think all he'll have been doing is sort of writing up his notes from yesterday in sort of longhand, and then enjoying it. He's trying to take full advantage of Larkin's hospitality. So, having the breakfast, going back for the continental breakfast, which I'm sure existed. And then sitting there as he's eating, writing up his notes. He doesn't need to read the local papers, that's just the competition.
Or potential future employer.
He doesn't speak Spanish, so we could do foreign affairs from Nottingham for them, I guess.
Yeah. Is there anything else that anybody wants to do, or anything that I've missed from things that you said you wanted to do before? Go on, Sam.
Before I meet with Jackson Elias again, having read at least some of the book, is there any I might take him to a side and have a conversation if there's something that comes out to me. Maybe I don't want to do that yet, but if there's anything I get from the book, I'd be curious before I see it this afternoon, I suppose. If you don't have anything to give me, that don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly have a conversation with him. Okay. If you wanted to say, "Oh, I've read a bit of your book," but probably maybe nothing related to the current. I
guess the general question I have is this is kind of in the occult section of books. It's not just savages and their death cults sort of thing. There's something more to it in some way. How much of an impression do I get Elias is studying these from a very academic sense and doesn't really believe anything mystical, or there is something mystical he's trying to hint at in some way? I guess that's what I'm most curious about.
From your conversations in the bar last night, as far as he basically straight up said that he doesn't think that there is anything, real, in terms of what these kind of the Karasiri, or presumably anybody else that he's writing about. He doesn't think that there is anything to their beliefs about this kind of, and he sees it as folklore.
Gotcha.
And he was, I think he said in the bar, sometimes the folklore that these things come up from is based on places to stay away from because X, and things like that. So
okay, that's the impression I get from the book as well, and that's fine. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe though, maybe those with an occult interest read these books because they think that there might be something to what he's writing about.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Justin,
is there anything in the newspapers that I pick up that I assume are not in languages that we can speak that sticks out to us as particularly important, such as Culta de Muerta, or something like that, that sticks out like a I don't know, sore thumb.
There is nothing in today's paper.
Okay, cool. Sorry for butchering the languages. All the languages I'm going to butcher in this series.
Yeah.
Cool. In that case, do you want to say that you all met up at about 11:30, ready to meet Elias for midday. I don't know if any of you want to catch up with each other on anything else.
No, I'm fine meeting at 11:30.
I think I will probably stay in case Larkin does come back. So I might. I think I might like maybe just have like a bit of a look to see if there's any kind of like maybe pop back out again briefly to see if there's any like books or something with like maps or something of the kind of area that we're anticipating going to, like almost more like travel guide level stuff than like, you know, what are the creepy death cults in the area kind of stuff. More general kind of travel guide, getting a bit of the lay of the land and knowing what to expect before we go kind of thing, just to read while I'm waiting and seeing if Larkin might want to take me up on my offer.
So he does not reappear at any point. And you don't see Luis either. A couple of people do come in and out of the hotel. The owner basically stays sitting in that chair throughout, apart from getting up to go and get herself a cold drink on a couple of occasions. But yeah, no reappearance.
Actually, I'll be back at the hotel where we're staying at, rather. So like, I'll have contact details for that hotel, like which my room number and stuff, in case than in case they wanted to like call through or something. But yeah,
got you. Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, I figured they probably wouldn't reappear, but I think Shane would hang around in case they might. So
cool. So yeah, just about 5 to 12, Elias returns and says, good morning. How are y'all? Are you well? Good sleep?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, after those cocktails. Yeah.
I thought you English was supposed to know how to drink.
Know how to drink. It's the effects that don't quite fully know how to deal with all the time. Getting the drink down my neck. That's the easy part.
I think perhaps the heat may have compromised Mr. Hobbs' abilities in that regard.
That's a good excuse. I think I might go with that as well. Yeah, I might take that one. It's the heat. That was it.
Yeah, you blame the sweat on the heat. That's cool. Good. Okay, shall we
Cool.
should we go see the prof?
Lead the way.
Cool. So you are going to the National University of San Marcos, and specifically the Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology, in which Professor Sanchez has his office. So as you are sort of entering the grounds, Elias is sort of giving you a bit of a tour, and he says the university here was founded 1551, I believe. Professor Sanchez told me, but this, he points at the building ahead. This museum, 2 years old. Very new, good addition. And you see this sort of long 2-story stone building which is painted dark yellow, and sort of between you and it is this large park, like a university grounds kind of thing. You head inside. It's quite a warm day for March. You stroll in. It's reasonably quiet. It is the weekend in the university grounds. So, Elias leads you to an office door and knocks. And after a sort of, you hear a ruffling of papers, and maybe a book get dropped on the floor. And then the door swings open, and you see a man in glasses and sort of bit of facial hair, and like a slicked back hair, oiled, and in a suit, he says, "Jackson," or "Jesse," and kind of looks at all of you. And then Elias sort of grins and says, "It's fine. They're with me." And he says, "Yes, I would not make a good spy. Please come in." So you enter this tall ceilinged, sort of quite airy, spacious room. White walls, shelves filled with books and different like trinkets and artifacts. But the majority, not the majority of the room, but quite a large part of the room is dominated by this large sort of hardwood desk, which is piled very high with books and papers and journals. He kind of wanders around this desk and almost disappears for a second behind all these things, and then sits himself down, and there's this gap ahead of him that you can see him through. And he says, "Hablas español?" And then it's sort of a blank look from most of you.
Sí.
He smiles and nods at you and says, "English is fine, but gracias." It is nice to meet you all, and Jackson, it is nice to see you again. You are the expedition? And how do you feel about Mr. Larkin?
I'm not sure we really know him well enough to form an opinion yet.
He seems plenty friendly.
Although Mr. Elias tells an interesting tale, I must say. It sounds as if the good Mr. Larkin has not told us everything, which will make you wonder.
Yeah, well, as Jackson may have told you, I have offered on more than one occasion to help with the expedition, and as much as I don't particularly believe in self-aggrandizing, I'm probably the ideal person for him to take. And yet, every time I have been rebuffed or simply ignored entirely. And my opinion is that he perhaps wants to loot the place without any interference from somebody such as me that would want to maintain some, well, integrity to the site and the expedition. No legal restrictions, of course, on continuing to plunder our country. That doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Him and all the other huaqueros, which, John, you would recognize. Oh, in fact, give me a roll, because it's kind of a funny word.
Let me just get my Spanish up.
I don't do that in real life.
For
No, I don't. I don't think it's part of the vocab I've studied.
Okay. Elias kind of turns and whispers, "Grave robbers?" And you see Sanchez kind of give a little nod.
Forgive me, maybe I don't understand, but isn't all that stuff under there just lying there and not doing any good to anyone? I mean,
I'll give Wilfred an admonishment.
I think Wilfred is grappling with the first time with the understanding that what he's doing may not be ethical.
I think I'll actively pipe and go. What my husband means to say is that wouldn't it be better were such artifacts buried and undiscovered found and could be displayed and viewed by people and studied to learn more about past, of course.
And obviously anyone who uncovers them and studies them should be rewarded for their work in doing so.
I suppose
More
that
kicking
depends on
balls.
who has the right to study them first. Is it those who find it, or the descendants of those who had it last?
Thank you for your understanding. Yes, that is my opinion. And I don't particularly believe that these potentially quite significant historical artifacts should be taken and sold to the highest bidder, perhaps to be displayed only to their well-off friends.
If the pyramid and the artifacts are so important, have you tried petitioning the university for funding for your own expedition? Beat Lark in there.
Well, I am sort of planning to try and get there first. My assistant and I have been going through the library and the archives looking for information on the pyramid. He looks around conspiratorially and goes over to his slightly open window and closes it. We have found a document from it's dated. It's the mid-16th century, written by a conquistador, which we believe may refer to and perhaps give the location of the pyramid. It's been a little difficult to make out, and my assistant Rizzo has been working on a summary of the pertinent details. She has almost finished, but there was mention of an artifact in the document, and she has been looking for that in the storeroom in the basement. So, as it may aid in well, potentially in both finding the pyramid and completing the translation of this document. In fact, she may well be meeting us here shortly. She has found what she is looking for.
May I ask, Dr. Sanchez, if you are so worried about the expedition that Larkin is leading and are in effect racing him to the pyramid, why are you so willing to share these things with us?
If you are here with Jackson, then you must be good people. He has his own concerns about one member of the party who notably is not here. And so, yes, I think you can be trusted with this information. Plus, if I, if I do find where it is and potentially set off before him, then in effect, there is little risk in you having the knowledge that I'm going there, I suppose.
I see. Well, regardless, I do appreciate your trust, Professor. I, for one, and my husband here are certainly bound to do the right thing in this and would endeavor to prevent the wholesale of any artifact which would be a great value to the archaeology of this nation. Well, I cannot speak for my friends. I'm sure they will agree.
We are bound.
Like looking at him.
I mean, as for myself, I really only came on this expedition as a way of seeing more of the world and dipping my toes into more interesting waters. So I have no particular vested interest in Mr. Larkin's expedition succeeding over anyone else's. Might I ask, do you know of this Larkin of his history? Are you aware of any of his other expeditions? Why do you have some sort of knowledge? You paint him in a might I say, a negative light. Do you have information to back that up? Certainly, the person he associates with, this Mendoza, does seem to be quite a sour and unpleasant individual. But yes, we have mere rumor to go on so far, I think.
Well, as for Luis, is it Jackson? And he nods. Yes, my understanding is that Jackson here has received warnings about his character. I myself have not had the displeasure, but I believe it came unprompted before he had met the man, so I have no reason to doubt that. And from my interactions, or often lack thereof, with Larkin, yes, responses have been dismissive at best, I would say. And as I said, I simply can't think of, this may seem offensive to you now I think of it, but I can't think of people who would be better suited to this than I, if it were for any sort of knowledge-based endeavor, I suppose.
Oh, no.
Rather than profiteering on his part, not yours, of course.
Oh no offense. No offense taken. But if you are intending to get there before Larkin, we were due to depart this Monday coming. There is little time, it seems to. Should you not already be on your way?
Well, perhaps if Trinidad returns soon, you can assume that this is the forename or surname of Rizzo. Then, well, perhaps we might leave today.
Larkin has said that he doesn't know the exact location. If the Conquistador's account is more accurate, Professor Sanchez might be able to reach it while we're still wandering around in the jungle.
That is reassuring.
I must admit, it rather makes me think I would like to travel with an expedition with you, but I suppose that may not be an option.
We could discuss it, I'm sure.
Wide-eyed, suddenly looking around.
I mean, either way, both expeditions will have to travel to Lake Titicaca. Perhaps things will have changed by that point.
You see him kind of look up at a clock on the wall. Wonder what's keeping Rizzo so long. Perhaps a good discovery. Very sorry for the wait.
Well, while we are waiting, do you... This might be a totally... you might not have any clue on this question, but I thought I may as well ask. As someone who's presumably more local than any of us anyway, do you know anything more about these death cults and stories of murders that Mr. Elias was talking about?
Yes, I know a little from what Jackson has told me, and I'm also aware of the folklore. But I don't put much stock in that. All sounds like fairy tales to me. Yes. Yeah, Jackson is definitely a much better font for that knowledge than I am, but suffice it to say that I'm sure there is a rational explanation for any of these goings on.
I see. But there haven't been... I mean, murders would be in the news, I would assume, so it's not big news or anything.
No, well, there are crimes everywhere, are they not? But I don't believe that anything has been particularly rife.
I see.
Did you want one of us to go sort of fetch your assistant, or was it Rizzo? See where they are, or?
Oh, you are welcome to go to the storeroom and see if you can find out what's keeping her. I do have other things to be, and he kind of looks at the stacks on the table.
I know when I'm not wanted, and I'm willing to start. Like my chair starts scraping back unless anyone's going to interrupt.
Sorry, go on, John.
I was going to say, I wonder, Professor, I understand if you would view it as unwelcome competition, but as the group's translator, I had been hoping to ask, I suppose, if you have any relevant documents of more specific vocabulary that may be encountered. I have Spanish and basic Quechua, but obviously nothing quite as in-depth as Lost Pyramids and Death Cults.
Well, if you were to go and find Rizzo, I think that the storeroom and library down there may be a good spot to find things like that. And I'll dig around and he sort of gestures widely around his room. Why don't yes, if you however many of you he directs you to the storeroom and says, Jackson, we shall wait here, and in case she returns, and then we can send her down to you and save crossing of wires 100 times.
Yes, thank you, Professor.
Cool. Is everybody going?
I will stay.
I'll go.
Yeah, I'll go. Why not? Be interesting to have a look around the storeroom, I imagine.
I will go for a chance to look around the storeroom.
I'll stick around with Mrs. Farwell.
Are you changing your mind? I'll be like, no, go, husband. I'll be fine. You were going.
All right, fine. I'll go.
Before we go to that, could I really quickly, when everyone else has gone from the room, just probably turn to Elias and just go, Mr. Elias, what do you think Mr. Larkin would do were someone who was specifically forbidden, or at least, I suppose, just denied response rather than explicitly forbidden from coming on the expedition? If that person were to be on the same boat, traveling in that direction, it posits curious questions, does it not? But it seems the good professor here is keen on traveling the same way.
Well, for the first leg, we are in trucks, so he would perhaps be a stowaway in that situation. But I see your point. If later on he happened to be walking the same road as us, then I'm not sure there's much that he could do, although we'd probably have to keep an eye on Luis.
Yes, I thought that might be the case. It's worth thinking about.
Inga, is Martin staying or going to the storeroom?
Oh, Martin didn't come at all. He was staying at the hotel.
Oh, you were totally staying at the house. Yeah, sorry.
Came up,
yeah. Okay, so Edwin, Theodore, and Merritt are going to the basement. Is that right? Cool.
Yep.
And Wilfred, if you listen to me.
Yeah, no, I'm going to. Oh,
okay.
yeah, or just wander around the university, opening up doors, seeing if anything creepy is behind them. That's a legitimate tactic. But I think in the meantime, I'll go to the storeroom.
We've got time
Okay.
for a quick side adventure, I'm sure.
So you you follow the directions that Professor Sanchez has given you. So you sort of round a corner and then you head down a staircase and down a long, dimly lit corridor before opening a door at the end. You don't see or hear anyone else. As I said, it's quiet here on the weekend. And when you get to the door, it's actually been left slightly ajar. And you enter this room. So it's quite a cavernous room. It's filled with evenly spaced shelves. Quite pleasing to the eye in some ways. Which on first entrance you can see are mostly sort of packed with crates, boxes, bags, all labeled and clean and well kept. You can see from the first couple that they seem to contain, different artifacts and items of note. So yeah, between the dim electric lighting down here and the packed shelves, it's difficult to see very far into the room. So are you making your way through? Are you calling out?
I'd probably call out Riso? Hello?
I would like to stop and listen.
Okay.
I think I'm going to blunder through the room.
Pushing over the shelves?
I love the image that
not
Merritt
pushing,
is like
but just,
quietly listening, and meanwhile Price yells the name, and Wilfred just storms.
I'm just going to walk
We're
in.
a finely oiled team. Just beautiful coordination.
We've got all three strategies going. One of them's got to work.
Question is, what's Ted gonna do?
The pair of embrace.
I think Riso, yeah. Then I'll just be call it Riso.
John, do you want to make a listen roll for Merritt?
So there's gonna be a hard roll at least.
12. That is not quite an extreme success, but it's a hard success.
Okay. I would say, so let's say that the first sort of notable noise that you as a group make is Edwin shouting Rizo's name. You hear a couple of footsteps after that, like quite rushed footsteps.
Can I hear the
and you did a hard, so I'll say that they are not coming towards you, they are going away from you.
Can I tell the rough direction?
Yeah, ahead of you, and what would it be? In not the actual orientation, but in terms of the room, like northwest.
Cool. I will say I heard something and head off in that direction as quietly as I can.
I will follow.
Okay. As you're moving through, presumably on quite high alert, the shadows are kind of dancing as you move between these sets of packed shelves and this dim electric lighting from quite, spread out ceiling hangings. And as I said, the room's quite cavernous, so they're kind of casting quite long shadows. And you get to sort of roughly where you would guess that the sound had come from. And you see the first bit of disorder that you've seen in this room. So there are a few things that look like they've fallen or been pulled off a shelf. And then as your eyes adjust a little bit more, as you've slowed down, you realize that there is somebody half buried under this pile of stuff. As you kind of adjust a little more, you realize that this body is emaciated, almost mummified looking, and has a large sort of disc shape of torn, bloody flesh on their upper chest. The shriveled face of this woman is frozen in a mask of terror, with her eyes still wide and staring in death. And can you make sanity rolls, please?
Hey.
Does everyone need to make him?
Everyone that is seeing this, yeah. So if you're coming here, then yes.
Fun.
I probably would.
Do I want to roll? I want to fail this.
I mean, that's
pass
entirely up
those
to you.
I forget what's the good result.
Usually
Passing
failing
is
10 rolls
better.
is bad. Yes, passing them is
The one where it's good to fail is where you don't want to notice something or you don't want to understand something. That's the
Oh,
one.
right, yeah.
Or, yeah, you want to pass the sanity and then fail
the
a
intelligence,
follow-up
isn't
it, like
Yeah.
intelligence
Yeah,
roll.
yeah.
Well,
Or
I did,
also-
I did not pass the sanity roll.
I did not pass the sanity roll.
No, I did not.
I did.
Okay. That is 2 sanity loss for everybody that failed, please. Failing a Cthulhu Mythos roll can often be beneficial as well.
Cool.
Because that
If you
can
don't-
lead to a sanity roll. Yeah. Okay. Let's say Merit as the one who passed the sanity test and was the first one there. You spot a notebook poking out from a jacket pocket on the opposite side to where the sort of disc of damage
so
is.
the body is dressed.
Yes.
So I'm
Yeah.
immediately ruling out the idea that this might be an artifact or exhibition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I will step forward and pull out the notebook.
Okay. Are you checking it now, or are you tucking it away for later?
I'm checking it now.
Okay. In that case, I will share this. So I'll read this out. Spanish, written by Gaspar Figueroa, 1543 on vellum. Figueroa, Spaniard who had traveled to Peru with Francisco Pizarro. According to the text, Figueroa set out to seek his own fortune following Pizarro's assassination in 1541. He was accompanied by Hernando Ruiz, Diego Garrido, Luis de Mendoza, and Pedro de Velasco, fellow conquistadors who had served with Pizarro. They traveled into the southern highlands of the Andes looking for treasure, hoping to make their fortunes before heading back to Spain and retiring in luxury. Hearing rumors of an ancient temple filled with gold, the men set off into the mountains southwest of Lake Titicaca. There they found a pyramid surrounded by a maze-like structure of underground tunnels. The walls of the tunnels were inlaid with intricate gold carvings. The men pried out a large section of the gold, exhausting themselves in the attempt. That night, as they rested, an evil sickness befell Figueroa's companions. In the morning light, they looked gaunt and deathlike. Complaining of agonizing hunger, they pursued Figueroa. De Mendoza caught up with him and started to devour him like a human leech. Figueroa shot his friend in the head and fled, pausing only to snatch up as much of the gold as he could carry. Figueroa eventually arrived back in Lima, hoping to get passage home, but he was too weakened by his ordeal. Figueroa describes himself as wasted, little more than a walking corpse. I read Final Confessions as Figueroa's attempt to lift the guilt that his avarice had placed upon him. He believed that his fate and that of his companions was brought about by their desecration of a holy place, and his most fervent wish was that he could undo the damage he had inflicted. He describes how he can still hear his friends' voices crying out with inhuman hunger, and how in the dark of the night he can hear another voice, ancient and seductive, promising him eternal life if he returns to the temple. The voice told Figueroa how to contact it, but it seems Figueroa was too afraid to ever attempt this. A postscript written by the priest who performed the last rites states that Figueroa died a day after completing his final confessions. His last words were an entreaty to whatever gods were listening to forgive him his blasphemies.
Okay.
Isn't that the same name as...
Mendoza, yes.
It's not exactly an uncommon name.
I'm sure if we go back, 300 years, someone existed that, has the same name as all of us. It's just coincidence, surely.
Well,
Unless we
regardless,
really think he is a vampire, but
we need to. She's dead. We need to tell someone.
Can you all make me a D10 roll? Lowest number gets something cool.
I rolled a 1.
Is the thing is the causing trauma?
The cool thing is pretty terrible, but like...
I rolled a 4.
I rolled a 9.
A 4.
Okay, Justin, Wilfred.
Yeah.
While
Dies.
while everybody else is looking over this piece of paper in this notebook, you spot a small wooden box that has been smashed next to the body. And it looks like it is smashed because it has been forced open rather than falling from the shelves and being damaged. So it's packed with straw, so some of that's kind of splayed out. And poking out is what looks to be a large piece of worked gold.
Oh, yeah, taking that.
I love that you'd read that whole note and then you'd be like, "Oh, gold, yeah."
I mean, yeah. What do you want from me? So this worked gold, which I slip into my pockets, hopefully without anyone seeing.
It is too big to fit into your pocket.
Damn it!
So this,
Can I hide it behind my back?
I think you
Go on,
probably have.
describe it to me.
I think you probably have this moment almost like the first time that you ever see like a clown or a magician doing the thing with the
Yeah.
So you're kind of pulling this out of the straw and you suddenly realize how heavy it is. It is about 2 foot long.
2 foot long.
3 inches wide and a third of an inch, so like a centimeter deep.
Is this a gold bar?
Are you picking this up?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So you would say it weighs maybe about 10 kilos, like getting towards 2 stone in weight. Both of the ends of it are rough, as if it were broken from something else, so not a complete piece.
Yeah.
It's largely just a straight band of this gold, although 4 sections of it jut out at right angles, just sort of like short spurs. So it's like a large central column and then 4 little bits that poke off it. The surface is imprinted with a number of non-repeating geometric shapes, mostly squares and rectangles. No obvious meaning to those. Not that you're a linguist, but you can't imagine any form of writing that is based on this. Perhaps it's just a design. I would say that everybody else has now noticed that you have.
Yeah, if I can't easily steal and sell this piece of chunk of gold, I go, oh look, this appears to have been knocked over.
Can you also make me a spot hidden roll, Justin?
Yeah, I can do that.
Good luck,
and then
Justin. We'll see if you succeed or not.
Doubtful. I rolled a 43, and I have nothing in spot hidden, so I fail.
Okay, so now everyone else can make a spot hidden if you are looking at this item as Wilfred holds up this 2 foot long gold bar, which I assume you'll be interested.
Yeah, it's not the least interesting thing you've ever seen. Edwin, you were going to go off and run off and get some help, weren't you, while we consider this large chunk of gold?
Well, I failed my spot hidden. I rolled 55 over 50, so... Yeah, Edwin is kind of concerned that there's a dead body here, and there's I'll go back and rush back to the.
Anyone else with a strong moral compass, feel free to go and get the authorities.
I was going to
We
take a
will-
photo of the body.
Go ahead.
And Mr. Farwell holding a gold bar out.
Yeah, I mean that's fine by me.
Okay. And John, did you succeed?
I rolled 11 under 65, so an extreme success.
Whew.
Okay. So you spot what looks to be the freshly burnt remains of some skin on the gold bar.
Cool.
But Wilfred is holding this gold bar with no issue whatsoever. So you assume it is not a hot gold bar.
I mean, you know, if Wilfred hangs on to it, it's going to be hot fairly soon.
Oh, dear.
I point to the skin and say, watch yourself.
That's horrible. This whole thing is horrible, I say, suddenly dropping the gold bar, realizing the situation I'm in.
I heard footsteps when we entered. Whoever did this
Which way do they
might not
go?
be far away. I sort of away from us. So
Okay.
that direction.
I guess I'm
mean-
gonna take off in that direction, looking for a back door or something.
In terms of this looks like this happened not 5 minutes. You know, it was a while ago. This person looks like one of them mummies. Yeah,
But there is...
Farwell is still running off.
It does look like fresh blood. Okay. So Farwell is going in away from the way that you came.
Yeah,
What-
seeing if there's like a back
is
exit.
Is Edwin going back the way that you came? Has he left yet?
Yes.
Okay. Theodora's taken a picture in very low light.
yeah.
And Merritt.
Oh, I don't know. I suppose I'm just sort of staying with the body.
Okay.
I think I'll have a look around. If this is the area where they're keeping the pertinent artifacts, I'll see if there's anything else of interest to me for the expedition. But I'm also
Okay.
kind of just sort of standing over this body.
Justin, can you make me... You probably have no points in it, but...
Doesn't matter.
let me
I'm
check.
willing to
Oh,
learn.
it's 10% base. Can you make a track roll for me, please?
I rolled a 95. Is that bad?
Okay, that's fine. You go this way, and you do find another door. It leads you to a hallway with a number of doors in it. And at one point, the hallway has 2 staircases going off in opposite
Cool.
directions.
I'm gonna start like going up to each door and then yanking it open and looking inside, and then when they see nothing, close it, and then go to the next door and yank it open and look inside. And I do that to all the doors.
Okay. These are all storerooms storing various items from, you don't know whether they're sorted into like 50-year chunks or alphabetical or some other filing system.
But I don't find
You
anything
find
interesting.
nothing of note in there. Are you
Then I head
taking
back.
either one of the... Okay,
No, I think that's as far as I go. I'll head back at this point and explain the situation to everyone.
I really wanted that to just be like a clueless intern just working in one of those rooms. Suddenly angry Wilfred yanks the door open.
Like doesn't speak any Spanish. It's
you
just like
Okay. John, do you want to make a library use roll again to see if you find anything of use for me?
41 under 70. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll figure out what you find, but you find something that you think yes, I'll take that. And Jack, apart from the photo, what's Theodore then doing?
Probably just hanging around waiting for people to turn up. If Merritt's looking around at artifacts, Theodore doesn't really know. He might be idly looking at them, but he doesn't know enough to be looking at them with any sort of expertise or anything. He's just there are things there, looking at them. He's looking at them. And maybe just taking a little bit of interest in the gold bar with the flesh attached, but maybe not quite touching it. Seeing it's got.
Yeah. Can I make a suggestion to Hobbs to take a picture of the design?
He says, "Yeah, good idea. I'll take it in case it." I was hoping to get it in better light, but with it having body parts attached to it, or bits to it, they might not want to let me have a hold of it. So yeah, I'll put it in a position where it's maybe a bit more well lit.
Yep.
But yeah, take a photo of it just so we've got
cool
a copy.
Fine. Steve. So everybody else has now sort of reconvened around the body, I think. Edwin, you find your way back through this storeroom and up the stairs. And as you are going up the stairs, you hear a scream and sort of a bit of a, what's a better word for kerfuffle, but kerfuffle. And well, the word fracas has been ruined by
struggle, brawl,
by Top Gear. But yeah, you hear a bit of it. You hear a struggle. Yes, a struggle. That'll do. And as you get to the top of the stairs, you don't see anything, but then you round a corner and you see a man lying on the floor with a sort of large patch of blood here, and he's kind of holding on to this, and he's leaning on one elbow, and you then see Elias comes running around the next corner and says, "My God, Edwin, can you help this guy? I can." And he heads over to the guy and kind of tries to start helping him.
Checking. Oh, I do have first aid.
Nice.
Check character sheet. Still early days. I can try, but there's a body in the storeroom.
There's a what?
They seemed emaciated. There was a gold bar and a body. We heard. I don't know what's gone on. There was a mark, a wound, a huge wound.
You mean like this poor gentleman?
Presumably not. What does this wound look like?
You would guess that this is a stab wound.
Yeah. The other one didn't look like a stab wound, did it?
No, it was very unique as wounds go. And the guy's kind of like, yeah, the guy went that way. Oh.
Well, I will try to do some first aid if I can. Jonny, if that's...
Yeah, give me a roll, please.
I would be willing to take off in that way.
Oh, were you following me?
I don't know if I was following you, actually. I suppose I might not have come.
Yeah, I think you're with the other guys.
Right, okay, sure, yeah.
I'm not happy with these dice, actually. I rolled on 81 over 50. So
okay.
You can always push rolls. So, this might be a moment to try and push.
Well, Elias actually rolled very well. So the two of you working together, you managed to, tear a bit of cloth and kind of tie it around the wound to maintain some pressure. Basically, Elias kind of helps this person up, and and then kind of looks at you and gets an arm, around one arm each of this person, sort of around your shoulders, and basically takes them to the nearest sort of member of staff that happens to wander by, and suggests making sure that this person gets actual medical attention.
As we're doing that, can I be asking them? Can you tell me what they look like? Can you describe them? Did you see their face?
Yeah, he was. Well, he had like a hood, but I think I saw a mustache and real dark, unhappy eyes. Sorry, I didn't see much. Came out of nowhere.
That's all right. Not to worry. You're okay now. We'll get you help. It's fine. You're okay.
And Elias says, I better go tell the professor that maybe he should come to the basement, I guess.
Yes, I think you both need to see what's down there.
So Sam, Winifred's heard this scream. What would you have done as Elias sort of ran out?
I think I might have followed Elias out of the room.
Okay. So yeah, a little after you guys kind of get there and manage to get the wound sorted, Winifred appears.
What's going on? Are you okay? Oh, to the man who's clearly been wounded.
Yeah, stabbed. I think. Well, definitely. I'm not safe in the universities.
Sorry, John, audio problems. Yeah, I will just look confused and probably just kind of follow as this goes on.
Cool. So yeah, Elias is heading back to the professor's office. Are you guys following with him? Steve, I don't know if Edwin recounts to Winifred as well about the body, or...
I think I probably would, yes. I won't describe, I won't describe it in gory detail. Try to preserve Winifred's, I don't want to unduly upset anybody.
So yeah, you all head back to the prof's office, and you open the door and you find him writhing on the floor in what looks like agony.
Probably now's the time to do the first aid, right?
And he's sort of got his arms wrapped around his abdomen as he's kind of writhing around. And you see this sort of... At first, you think that maybe it's like saliva around his mouth. Sort of maybe he's been just as he's writhing. But then you realize that it looks a little more off-white in color and like waxy around his mouth. And and he's saying, "He kissed me," and he's just sort of writhing, lying on the ground, unable to do much more than that. Elias just kind of looks like wide-eyed. He's yeah.
Is there only one door to this room, Jonny?
Yes.
I think I will immediately go back out the door and just listen to see if there's any other commotion in the building, given we're clearly missing someone running past us at this point.
So there are ways to go out of here that, once you're out of the room, that wouldn't have passed where you were.
Yeah. I'm just having a general listen in the rest of the building rather than going anyway.
Yeah.
So.
You can make me a listen roll.
Mm-hmm. I failed.
Okay. Yes.
Probably stood there a little dumbfounded. I'm not sure first aid covers what to do in this. I mean, I guess I'll sort of head round and I don't know. Check his. I mean,
I don't know what 1920s first aid consists of, apart from doing the Charleston.
Probably brandy, maybe. I don't know.
Or giving him opium, I imagine.
Yeah, smelling salts. We might have some smelling salts. Maybe that might be our best shot.
I mean, if he's clutching his, is there any visible wound on his body where he's clutching his chest, or?
So you're examining him.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to make a spot hidden roll?
Okay. I'm using different dice now because the first dice were badly behaved. These are better. I rolled a 7.
Okay.
Under 50, so I guess that's extreme.
Yeah. Okay. So he's in a quite nicely fitted suit, and the jacket is open. So the shirt underneath is quite, well fitted, well tailored, and even through that, you can see so his arms are like this, but every now and again, sort of slightly above or below where his arms are, you see something writhing, presumably underneath the flesh, at least underneath the shirt, but presumably underneath the flesh. I would also say that those who are still in the basement, you've probably waited there an amount of time where you might think maybe we'll go upstairs now. So unless you don't want to do that, I would say that in a couple of minutes' time, you could have made your way to the office if you think now that you might want to head up.
Is Merritt sort of looking at things intently enough that Theodore might go, well, do you want me to go leave you here while I go see where the others got to?
Might be a good idea.
Yeah, so I think, Theodore will go see where the others got to and make his way up. I guess to the point he knows, which would be the office.
Cool. So Ted's coming up, Merritt's staying there. And Wilfred?
Heading up.
Cool. So after a couple of minutes, they will appear. Steve, I don't know if you or Winifred were doing anything else in the meantime, other than kind of checking him and trying to get an idea of what's going on.
I think I would probably be trying to see, opening the professor's shirt, trying to see what's going on. And well, yes, I'll do that first.
Okay.
Probably saying to
Yes.
Jackson, there's There's something moving.
Yeah, okay, so in what looks like, you can see this. It's definitely under the skin, not under the shirt. So you can see this sort of writhing, moving, sort of, the kind of shape that you would expect from something kind of parasitic. Like sort of long, not super long, but longer than it is wide, kind of thing. Sort of wormy in nature. Moving around under the skin in the abdomen.
Well, if I see that, trying to remember what the word was. I did have it written down. Jackson, how much do you know about these? What Karasiri?
What?
Look,
No,
there's a parasite or something. There's.
I mean, parasites happen.
You didn't see the body
Mr.
downstairs. Do you know anything at all? Can we treat this?
I mean, if it is like a parasite, then maybe we try the usual routes.
Is Theodore in the office at this point?
Yes, you can have just arrived. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I think
Wilfred,
seeing that will go.
therefore.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. What's up with him? In a lot more shot voice than the calm Wes at that.
Role play. I think Winifred will also have come back into the room curious about this parasite and mention of Karasiri. Not that they have anything else to.
I think seeing it is a parasite, I think Theodore will be like, quick, cut it out. Who's got a knife?
Jonny is.
Wilfred always carries a knife.
Is the professor? Does he look like his health is declining? Is he getting worse?
That's difficult to say. He looks like somebody who is in a very large amount of pain. So he's got he's sweating, he's pale. That could just be the pain, or it could be another effect of what's happening to him. It's difficult to say.
I'm trying to figure out how long we have, because Edwin's a lawyer. There's all sorts of you can.
Wilfred's gonna
like
Wilfred's got a knife out and is like, "Where do you want me to cut him?" This is like I'm down beside the thing.
God,
I go, "My grandfather gave me this knife. May it serve this man better than he served me." Now, where's this wriggling thing?
You can see it if you're there.
Jesus.
It's been pointed out to you that thing exists.
Like gesturing with like fairly calmly like at this thing with the tip of the knife. Mr. Price, do you think we should remove it?
Yes. Look at it.
I think so. Yes.
In that case, I will try to. Can I try to make a first aid roll to try and remove this?
It's a medicine roll for this.
A medicine roll.
I'm presuming
I'm not going to be using medicine.
Yes.
I mean, it may require a medicine roll to do it correctly. But I am not. There's nothing medical about what Mr. Farwell is doing with this knife.
The first aid roll is going to be needed for after he bleeds out.
Yeah.
No, not after he bleeds out. Hopefully a bit.
I have a 1% chance of succeeding on a medicine roll, which is all I was saying.
You're not here. Shane isn't here. Oh my god. This is. You have medicine, right?
I'm feeling really good about my role play.
All right, okay. How is it 94?
Oh my Jesus Christ!
Yeah, but we was holding him down, so that should help.
That should help. That's like a +10 or something, I'm sure. It's safe to say I don't think I succeed in carving out this worm.
No.
It just
and
goes
actually,
deeper in, maybe.
I think you make a couple of cuts attempting to sort of chase this thing before Elias goes, "Would you stop it, man?"
That's fair enough. Reasonable position. In that case, I'll like, I don't know, kind of like fall back from him.
And Elias says, Barton, does Barton know anything?
He's down there with the corpse.
Is he any? Oh God!
Welcome to the team.
What? One of you get him, just in case.
I'll sprint to go fetch him.
Cool. Yeah, and you get him back if John is willing to return. John, I actually don't know if you have anything in medicine, but this would be a thing that would happen anyway. So
my character sheet my tablet has turned itself off, but I remember checking my medicine earlier, and I don't think I do. But I'm willing to make a 1% roll chance.
No, if you say you don't know anything, if you say you don't know anything, he's going like Elias isn't going to let you stab his friend again.
That's responsible.
So he says, I'll go see if I can find anybody in the university to help.
Is there
and disappears off.
Is there a phone in the professor's office?
That's a good question. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Does the university have any sort of medicine department with
probably
students?
Not in the fancy new wing.
Yeah, not on Saturday. Is he still responsive, Johnny? Is he still conscious?
He's still conscious, yeah.
He's probably saying, "Stop stabbing me."
I will maybe like try and lean down and just say, "This thing, it came from the man who just attacked you. Did you say kissed you?"
He's really struggling to sort of get any words out on top of the groaning.
I'm trying to just get he doesn't seem to disagree with this concept.
No, he doesn't. No.
Okay.
I mean, if he's kind of responsive, I'm going to ask, was it Luis?
Oh, hang on. Let's have. Why doesn't everybody make idea rolls?
Oh, I'm not rolling well today. I rolled a lot of 90s.
I pass an idea roll, 54 under 80.
I'm really bad at rolling dice as well today. Yeah, no, did not pass.
$59 over 55. Can I spend luck?
I rolled 71 over 70, so that's very luck tempting.
Steve has succeeded, so metagaming. You can. So Edwin suddenly thinks about something that he's aware of. Well, sort of thinking it through. If this thing has entered through the mouth, presumably it could be vomited.
Okay. Yes, salt water is a good emetic.
So if you or whoever is the best in the group at first aid, because it's reasonable for you to see who would be the best person to administer a treatment. I don't think it's too metagamey to say that the best person should do this, can make a hard first aid roll.
Well, I have 50 in first aid.
That makes it the best first aid as
any
far
raises?
as I know.
Martin?
Of all the people we've met.
Oh my god. A hard first aid roll, you say?
Yes, please.
Okay, which is half, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh god. No. That's a pass, but not a hard pass.
Is it spend luck worthy?
Or push
would-
the roll, Worthy.
I'll push the roll. I'll regret this, I'm sure. Yeah, I 45 under 50, so no, that is don't get a hard pass. Pass
Okay.
both times, but no hard pass.
Okay. So, yeah, you attempt to use salt water to cause him to vomit this thing up, and you do induce quite an amount of vomiting. But nothing other than, the contents of his stomach usually kind of comes up. And now he's the groans have become more hoarse as the salt water's kind of, affected his throat. Jackson comes running back in with a couple of guys with like a kind of a gurney equivalent. And they basically chuck him up on there and very quickly wheel him out of the room. And I think that is where we will leave this week.
Wow.
The medical subplot not involving Corporal Shane. Oh.
I'll teach you to stay in the hotel.
I was like, oh, I might be needed for medical attention by the person I've been hired to provide medical attention for.
Meanwhile, his assistant.
Oh my
Possibly.
god. I genuinely feel so awful. I was like, oh my god, this is the worst possible time.
Yeah,
to not
like you just get this flash while you're sitting there and you're in your room of just Mr. Farwell stabbing at this guy, going, "No, that can't possibly be happening." I'm just
Stabbing someone, making them sick. Yeah, great.
definitely
flawed.
helping all round.
Yeah.
I will admit, I did look at a few 1920s first aid manuals, and even in modern wounds for modern bullets, which I tell you is a riveting piece, none of them contained anything about cutting worms out of people. Which, fair enough.
Seems weird.
Oh, that was funny. Oh.
Cool. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. Other things on the channel, this is on Mondays. We are on next week, not the week after, but next week is good. Wednesdays are Simba Room. Thursdays are alternating our pre-recorded Delta Green, which Steve ran. Steve ran. And the Yellow King stream, which Matt is doing. So this week is Delta Green episode 3.
It's a fun one.
So the previous 2 are on YouTube already, as is all of our back catalogue of everything. And yeah, links to Twitch and YouTube are below, as our social media and our Discord and our Patreon. Things are escalating quite nicely now.
I presume we're not going to be going on Larkin's expedition now. Like, because last week we were sort of, it seems a bit sus. Perhaps anybody sensible would just go now.
Well,
I mean, I'm fairly convinced that Lewis is a vampire.
I mean, I'm going to the forest. I know my character's going to the forest. It's just whether I want to go with Larkin or not.
Cool. Questions and comments. Shall I do these? Inga from early on. The Peruvian tourism board is going to love this. Come to Peru for the death cults.
I mean, even death cult members need a holiday, right?
It's true.
Yeah, but a death cult member wouldn't go to Peru full of death cults for holiday. They want to get away from it all.
No, you see,
That's a real death cultman's holiday.
Yeah, we got
that.
Terrible.
Yeah, bookstore chat, Necronomicon, hardback or softback. Thanks, Steve. And also Jesse Hughes is Jackson Elias, underlined 3 times.
I really enjoyed that awkward Sanchez. Hey, Elias. Or Jesse. That was so funny.
It's still
Kind of
too
reminds me
soon
of
to
a
make
moment
that
in
joke.
Delta Green as well, though. Yeah.
It's too soon. It's too soon to joke
I
about
think it's
it.
out now, to be fair.
No, it's just I'm not ready to hear a joke about it. That's what I'm saying.
Still raw. It was such a perfect accident that just highlighted my character ideally.
When we were talking about Wilfred storing the gold bar, Steve, Wilfred, why are you walking so unusually? Yeah, 4242 just recently. The unwritten rule of RPGs is you can't refuse the offer of a terrifying sounding trip.
I mean, Edwin's a lawyer. He probably has some sort of contract of employment. If he pulls out now, it'll be a breach of contract, and surely that's not okay. You've really just got to carry on now at this point.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
but
did.
as
You
a
forgot
lawyer-
to put Death Cult in the small print. You know, you know.
Yeah.
As a lawyer,
It is there.
oh,
It's just in white ink on paper, so like it checks out legally, but it's a bit iffy. Yeah.
If you haven't taken out Death Cult insurance, you won't get a refund on your travel. That's the problem.
Amazing. Also, it just occurred to me, we've all gone to this like museum and come out just like shell shocked with this. How are we going to the forest now? This is madness. And then Corporal Shane's just there, like, yep, just getting ready for my expedition, la la la, waiting for people to come back. We're just going to come back with.
Gotta make sure my
let's
memory
see,
card
we're
was
gonna
awful.
try and
People might need
explain
them.
Yeah.
Genuinely
Everything's
feel
fine.
awful about my choices this episode.
Then
It's,
I'm
you know,
extractor. Let's pack that.
Right, maybe you'll have an equally awful scene at the beginning of next session, just to tie it off.
And that'll make everything better. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting though, because like, there's obviously something's happened to presumably Riso. Shit's happened to a bunch of other people in the university. I don't know whether the other guy that got stabbed is relevant or just a bit of an accidental sort of bystander who got caught up in it. And I don't know whether this gold bar was the item that Sanchez referenced as potentially helping with translation and location, or whether that was something else. But if it is the item, then it's kind of weird that's still there, as well as the sheet of paper, like from the notebook. Like, that obviously wasn't the, incentive for whatever.
if only the professor could tell us about the background of this gold bar.
It's fine. He's going to live, right? Right, guys? Right?
Not after
Yeah,
those
yeah.
rolls.
And as Wolford proved, it is quite hard to make off with that gold bar. So
Oh, that was great.
Cool. All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you next week for the exciting conclusion of these characters. No, I'm kidding. For more fun for everyone. Links to everything below the video. Wednesday Simba Room, this Thursday Delta Green, next Thursday Yellow King. Everything is on YouTube. Thanks for joining us and have a good rest of your week. Bye-bye.